What is up, everybody? Jester here, and today we're going to be taking our first look at Prologue, Go Wayback. Now, in full disclosure, I got a free copy of this game, kind of in an indirect method. So I do want to say thank you to Zach Nafine right out of the gate. He was given a bunch of keys from the developers, and they were to be handed out either to content creators or in a giveaway, which is what he's going to do with the rest of them. But I was lucky enough to receive one, and because of that, I feel like I need to give good constructive feedback and enjoy the game, and that's what we're going to do today. I went ahead and played this last night, and I've got some feedback. So we're going to go into some clips, my first impressions, and then I want to go into the roadmap a little bit and give some really constructive stuff that I think the developers can use going forward. That being said, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to mention is this screen, which comes in right before you start. And there's two things at the bottom I didn't realize at the time that we ended up figuring out later. The first is the prompts are available to help you discover interactions in the game. Check this box to enable the prompts. Go ahead and check that. It's going to tell you when something is, you can interact with it. And then display the weather tower location on the maps. I didn't realize those were boxes, but if you just check those before you continue, it's going to make your experience a little bit easier getting started. The next thing I wanted to mention is just expect there's going to be some bugs and some optimization that's going to need to be done. Again, this is day one of early access, and as you can see here, the shadow is kind of doing some weird things. And look, it caught me off guard. We kind of moved on from it. But you got to understand, some games, people are willing to accept these kind of things that are going to get looked at eventually by the developers. And then other games, people will go in and be like, oh my God, it did this, so I can't stand it. So just kind of take everything with a grain of salt, that they're very open to the feedback that they're getting at this point. And I just want to make sure that we're giving them some solid feedback. But that shadow thing did kind of freak me out just a little bit. Another thing I want to mention, and I know this sounds like I'm kind of being harsh on them, which I'm not. I'm just trying to give constructive feedback, is the cooking system really does need some work. And they do mention that in their roadmap that they're going to be working on it. The main problem for me was I couldn't tell when anything was done, or if it really gave us any benefit to standing here and cooking the canned goods and stuff that we had. Again, even in a game like Valheim, you would put something on a hook to cook it, and then you would get a little poof. And then if you missed that poof, just, a minute later, it would turn into charcoal. It didn't do that in this case, but I didn't see any benefit to standing here doing it. And again, not a complaint, because they do say in the roadmap they're going to work on it, but it definitely needs some work. After we gathered everything up, we started out, and in pretty much true Jester fashion, I just YOLO'd the first run, knowing full well we were probably going to die. But I didn't realize that top right was really showing me that we were freezing to death. And when I ended up dying right here of hypothermia, I was upset at first because I was like, well, they didn't really tell me. But it did. The chart was right there. I just didn't see it. I wasn't paying enough attention. I was just trying to run through the game. And look, this is a tough survival game. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to end up coming back to this screen and starting over a lot if that's what you do. Before I get into the next couple of things that I think kind of need to be looked at, I do want to mention here that I had fun playing this game. I'm actually going to play it again tonight when I'm done recording this video. This was a new, fresh thing for me in the survival genre that I hadn't seen. It's more of a survival navigation concept, and to me, being innovative in this space is really cool because it's really easy to fall into this, oh, it's another survival zombie game, or oh, it's another cold weather survival game, or oh, it's another green hell type where you're in the jungle. Like, this is kind of its own little thing. And while it needs work, I definitely had fun, and I'm going to be going back to it tonight right after I record this video. So that should tell you guys something about it. I'm not by all means saying everybody should go buy this game, but look, it's got really good bare bones, and it's a fresh take on the genre. And in the end, I think that's really all you can hope for in a survival game. With all that being said, the next few issues all came in one clip. I got stuck out, I was running at night, and I was cold, and I fell through the mesh into a hole. And number one, we fell through the mesh, so that's a bit of a problem. Number two, we didn't take any fall damage or anything, which you would suspect in a game like this. It's a pretty hardcore type survival game, a la the Long Dark, where you get, sprains and things. But the bigger problem was the unstuck feature didn't bring us out of the hole. I tried it multiple times, and luckily this was pretty early in a run, so it really wasn't that big a deal. Had it happened later, I might have been a little more upset about it. I hope they look at this and maybe teleport the player 5-10 meters away from where they're at instead of just right back in the spot that they're in, because the unstuck feature actually just didn't work. I ended up giving up on this run and just starting a new one. And anybody that would come into the comments or into the forums and say, hey, this didn't work, I saw this firsthand. So hopefully the devs take a good look at this and get this working as anticipated. My next observation is something that's been on my wish list in a survival game for I don't know how long. It's when you've got a pot in your hand, you should be able to either collect stuff with it and then go purify it, or you should be able to just leave it sit out and let the rain fill it up, and then you've got drinkable water. Unfortunately, in this game, this isn't the case, sadly. But from what I hear in the forums, if you're walking around with your water bottles out, it will fill up if it's raining. And yet you can't put a pot on the ground and go that way. So again, I hope this is something they look at, and we're going to touch on all the things they're talking about in the roadmap. And gosh, I hope this is one of them, because that is always a frustrating thing, is when you know you've got something that'll collect rainwater. Let me collect the rainwater. Water and food are really tough in this game. That would make it a lot smoother for me. The last thing I'm going to touch on is the climbing animation can be just a little bit jarring. It kind of doesn't really have a completion. You're just kind of climbing one moment, then you're there. And I hope that's going to get smoothed out, and I think that it will. And at the end of the day, I think if you're asking me if I can recommend this game, honestly, right now it's at 10% off for $17.99. And this is kind of right in the wheelhouse of the games I like to recommend to people. $20 seems to be just the right price point for me, to where I get really good value for my dollar versus playtime. And I feel like this is going to be one of those titles, especially when they've got a roadmap that you can hold them accountable to. There's so many times that I've played games that are $50, $60, $80 and just felt disappointed at the end. Dune Awakening is one going forward. Now, I don't feel like I got cheated out of money. I feel like I got fairly decent value out of that game for the time I put in it. But at the same time, I'm not going to get any value from that going forward, because it's just not a game I'm going to play anymore for a multitude of reasons. Whereas this game, being a $20 game, had I not received it for free, as I mentioned earlier, I would buy in a heartbeat. I had a really good time playing this, and again, I'm going to go back to playing it. And the reason I think you can kind of trust in that is the roadmap. So let's talk about that just a little bit. What I love about developers that are willing to put out a roadmap is they're basically putting out there what they think in the moment. And what I also like about these guys is they are absolutely taking the feedback. And this is why we're making this video today. It's not I'm trying to crap on anything, because I'm not. I just want to make sure that my experience is heard. And, because anybody that watches this video is likely trying to figure out if they would like to purchase this game. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is, like I said, the price point is just about in the wheelhouse, man. Like, how many times have you gone out and spent $20 and you regretted it on something stupid like, I don't know, a case of beer, whatever it might be? The point is, you're going to get a lot of playtime out of this, because it is an interesting look at survival mechanics. Now, with that being said, they are talking about doing a lot of things with the world, like paths and trails and enhancing the river systems. The paths and trails, for me, I feel like it was kind of nice trying to navigate through the woods. Like, I kind of don't want to have my hand held by saying, hey, if I follow this path, it'll take me to a cabin. Although I think a lot of people would benefit from that. They were talking about making more biomes, dynamic weather, and believe me when I tell you, it felt like the weather was pretty dynamic last night. It went from pretty crystal clear to very stormy and thundery very quickly. And maybe the transition time between those things can be tweaked a little bit, but I feel like they've already got fairly dynamic weather. They're also talking about more varied settlements, meaning they're going to make some different cabin models, which that did get just a little bit similar on a lot of them. Water and freezes and thaws. These are all nice. The gameplay and survival, though, is where I think we really need to touch on it. When they talk about creative building here at the top, look, I can live with or without creative building. I think if you're playing in maybe a free play mode or something like that, creative building could be a whole lot of fun. What I'm more interested in, though, is going to be the new ingredients and recipes that make food and fire a deeper part of survival, because food and water were a major problem for me last night. And apparently I walked past lots of different harvestables. I'm going to check into that tonight. but I definitely want to be able to live a little bit longer and maybe get to the tower, because we did not in 6 tries last night get to the tower or even remotely close. But then again, we were kind of just testing and seeing how things worked in that playthrough. They're also talking about adding full climbing gear, which would be nice because there was a lot of unscalable stuff that was in our way that we're going to have to go around. Batteries and repairable power systems, fuel for lamps. Now that one oil lamp that we had, there was no bar, kind of like in Long Dark where it runs down. So that kind of would be an interesting addition because, you know, resources in a survival game are finite. And again, containers that can hold water, fuel, and other liquids for more flexible storage and interaction. I really hope that one of the things they do is let us have a way to collect water, because like I said, if you've got a pot and you put it down, it should collect rainwater. I hope that's something they're going to look at. I'm going to test tonight if holding the water bottle out will fill the water bottle with rain when it's raining. If that's the case and you can't collect in the pot, I really hope they figure out a way to even slowly fill up the pot with rainwater. Clothing that degrades, it's again, I'm going to use a lot of Long Dark references here because I think a lot of the community that plays Long Dark would play a game like this. This would be kind of like your mending. And then growing tools. At one point last night, we did find a hammer and we were able to get some firewood out of chairs and tables and things like that pretty easily. But the big thing I want to touch on is the additional game updates. A few things in here. Number one, new game modes. And the reason I think I would like to put my 2 cents in on this is the game mode that you're basically going to play in survival is what they call medium as far as difficulty goes. And if you were in a Long Dark scenario, that would basically be Stalker. What I would like to see is more of a Voyager type difficulty from this game, because they do have free roam where you don't have to worry about survival. That would be the Pilgrim equivalent. I would like to see something more along the lines of Voyager where loot, food, water, that kind of thing is a little more available to you, and you didn't lose food and water quite so quickly, so you could kind of learn the mechanics of this game. Because what I had last night was a little more on the Stalker/Interloper side of an experience. And look, I'm still willing to go play it, so it didn't turn me off. But at the same time, I think you're going to find a lot more players when it's not that they're holding your hand, but you're allowing people to go out and explore and not have to worry, an absolute ton about finding food and water. And again, that comes down to letting us, even be able to boil water to make sure it's safe to drink or be able to capture water in some way. The bigger thing for me, though, is the Twitch integration. And I know this is selfish. If you guys haven't followed my Twitch, the link is in the description. It's the kingdom. It's Jester's Kingdom. We just have fun. We play with games like this. We do a lot of different stuff. And it's free to come over there and follow. So please come and join the kingdom. We have a good time. We've currently been having a really good time in 7 Days to Die that has Twitch integration, which means that my viewers can come in and they can either help or hinder me. That gives them something to do than just watch gameplay. It gives me something else to worry about while I'm playing the game. And it's been a real blast, and I really hope, I know this won't be their top priority, but I hope this comes in sooner rather than later, because it is so good for a viewer to be able to either, end your run or to be able to help you along the way. It's really, really a cool thing to do. And then the last thing is the in-game camera mode. Look, I wish every game had this, because cinematics are awesome in a video. And I really hope this comes in again sooner rather than later. Again, it's one of those small things, but I do hope that they do it. Now, at the end of the day, I do want to mention a little something here. Again, this game is currently 10% off through December 1st, $17.99. I think it's worth every penny of that. And again, I want to say thank you to Zach Nafine for sharing those keys, because I would have ended up getting this game, but I might not have got it on day 1 or even day 2. But for $17.99 or even $20 when it's not on sale, like I mentioned, this is totally in the wheelhouse of the games that I feel I get the best value out of. And again, it's early access, guys, so give them some time to work on it. It's funny to me how certain games, Let's go with a really popular example like Subnautica. It launches into early access and everybody's, hey, give them some time, give them some time, give them some time. And yet when you talk about a game like this that's just from a developer that's putting something out that hadn't been done before, you get this mixed reaction because people are like, oh, it's not a game. Like, he didn't even show these people, but I love the idea of the game. Or it's a non-glorified walking simulator, which it's not really, sort of, but not really. Long Dark is kind of the same thing. This one says, oh, it's not a game, product refunded. No food and water mechanic. Well, they didn't even play the game because that killed me on more than one occasion last night. This one, unfortunately, it's not yet a game. To me, it was every bit of a game last night. And I'm just trying to figure out on their terms. And they're willing to work on it to make it more user-friendly. People are very quick to pass judgment on stuff, and time will tell on this one. But for me, I think the asking price of, currently $18, guys, the value is there because I feel like you're going to die probably 10, 15, 20 times before you get anywhere, and then you'll probably die 2, 3, 4 times more before you make it somewhere else. At that point, you've probably got 40 hours in the game. Is 50 cents an hour good for you when it comes to your entertainment dollar? Hell, I waste $20 on stuff all the time I shouldn't. And it is what it is. So at this point, I think I can go ahead and say, pick this up. Because even in the state that it's in right now, I had a blast. The people that were in chat with me last night had a blast. And again, thank you to Zachnafine for sharing those keys. Because again, I would have got the game. It just wouldn't have been quite this quickly. So I'm going to put a link for his channel down in the description. And look, if you like an honest take on stuff, think about subscribing to me here because, that does help me in the algorithm when it comes to YouTube. And again, follow me on Twitch and like the video because it does help it get out to more people. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. We got a ton of stuff planned with Long Dark and some 7 Days to Die and some music videos. It's an exciting time to be around the Jester IRL channel. And I'm finally excited about making content again. Please join the journey if you'd like. But we will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.